Hello, welcome to Just Frame. As part of this video, we are going to understand a buzzword nowadays we can listen everywhere in in almost all industries, right? Like vector database. So this vector database is a keyword which we are listening in almost every industry and different places and different ways, right? So this we are going to understand it. So as part of this tutorial, we are going to understand some of the things like mentioned here. What is a vector database? First, we will understand, and then we will try to understand what the different types of vector database are available now. After that, we are going to see how to generate embedding vectors or inserting into database, so that we are going to see it. And the fourth one, we are going to see the main use cases of this vector databases, and finally we are going to see the practical demonstration of generating embedded vectors based on the text. So that we are going to see, these are the five things we are going to cover it. The first point, what we are going to see over here. So what is vector database? So before going to the vector database, nowadays you can see everywhere, right? So Chat GTP, generative AI, LLMs model, so that we are going to listening it. So the main thing is Chat GTP. Chat GPT, whenever you are answering any question, right, so you will be getting the answer very quickly without any delay. So can you imagine so how the answer is generating within fraction of seconds? The answer is presenting very immediately, so the answer is generating. So that's the main question we need to ask ourselves. So the behind Chat GTP or LLM model, so there is a big database is available, that is called vector database. So that's what we need to mainly need to understand. Because of vector database, we can able to retrieve the answer very quickly and very easily on based of, it could be any kind of question, it could be text question or images related question or audio or video. We can able to generate the answer very easily in terms of text, images or audio or video, because of vector database what is storing or containing all kind of data, huh? So that's the main usage behind the Chat GTP, right? So now come back to the vector database. So what is vector database? So the vector database is a specialized type of database designed to store and query multi or high dimensional vector representation of any kind of data. It could be image, text, audio or video. So this vector database will be used for further to retrieve the answer. So basically, for all behind, I mean, like all behind the models, what we are trying to use it. So vector database is available, so which contain actual data in terms of numbers and numeric numbers in phrase of vector. So that vectors are very huge. That's what I say, multi-dimensional or high-dimensional vector representation of data, which can be stored into the vector database. So that's the main or brief introduction or what the definition of vector database. Okay, now come back to the second point. What are the different types of vector databases are available and which are free and which are paid version? And we can see there are some main five different types of databases are available, and which you can see the Facebook one and the Pinecone one and the Milvus and the weights, the Qdrant. So these are the some of the different five different types of vector databases are available. Now when we are talking about vector database, now we can compare the vector databases with traditional database. So for almost 2 decades what we are using it, right, like SQL database, NoSQL database and then graph database. So why this vector database become very popular nowadays? Because if you compare other database, like I said, right, SQL database, NoSQL and graph database, these can be stored structured data, kind of a tabular format or a document or any kind of node values. So these are the data can be stored in case of non-vector databases like SQL Server, MySQL Server, or MongoDB or Cassandra, whatever, right? So there retrieving or getting an answer for a query is very difficult, because there is a structured data is there. In terms of vector data, when we are dealing with it, it can able to store any kind of unstructured data like a text, image, video or audio. We can able to store it and we can able to retrieve it very easily with the help of a specialized indexing or hashing. So that's the main use case of this vector databases, and we can see these are the different five databases, and every database have a unique feature. So based on our use case, we can able to select any of the database what we are trying to use it. Some are free and some are paid version, and some are specialized for semantic search, and some are like a cloud native, and some are like a production ready, and some are for development use purpose. So you can use whichever you are interested, and it's up to you, your use case. So you can select anyone and you can start using it. Okay. So the next topic is, so how we are going to generate embedded vectors. So basically the when we are storing the data into vector database, we have to convert the entire text into embedded vectors, right? So to convert the data into embedded vectors, so we need to follow a set of steps like we mentioned here. First, the data preparations. So first we need to get the data, what kind of data you are trying to convert into vectors, meaning numberings. It could be text, image, audio, or video, right? So once your data is ready, then we need to select what kind of pre-trained model we are going to use it, like BRT in one of the Google model or GPT. So whichever model you are trying to use it, so what suits for your use case, you can select it. Once you select the model and then give a text or whatever the input you are trying to convert, so then the model will generate our embedding vector. So we can see this is a sample embedding vector, we can see which is generated multi-dimensional vector BRT. Okay, so once the vector is ready, the final step we can able to store these vectors into vector database. So that's our final step. Once the vector is stored into database, then we can able to query it very easily with a specialized hashing technique, indexing concept what vector database is using. So that is the way you can able to get a semantic search or exact matching search on based of text what you are trying to store into the database. Okay, so that's about the third part. Now come back to the fourth part. So this is a very important, we need to understand what's the use cases of these vector databases. So the vector database can be used in a variety of formats and different ways, and very in almost all sectors nowadays we are using it. Like the first format we can see similarity search. So we can able to use this one, say for instance when e-commerce websites. So what kind of products users are trying to search. So what kind of recommendations we can show to them. So based on our storage what we have in the e-commerce site, and what kind of products users are trying to search. So we are trying to fetch similar products and we can display to the user so that users can able to select the products which he is interested very easily. So this is one of the use case, and the second one we can see anomaly detection. So this is very important one, and we can use this one, fraud detection. It's kind of any fraud is happening, any unusual behavior in terms of transactions, or we can see in healthcare also we can able to identify based on the based on the I mean so nowadays we can see, right, so how the patient is behaving, how the patient is giving the feedback. So we can able to see abnormal behaviorals, so based on the data he's provided, so that we can able to identify so where the problem is occurring exactly. So that is one of the best use case in the customer data unusual behavior or patient data behavioral use cases. The third one is semantic search. So this is very useful in case of user intent. What kind of questions user is trying to ask? How to fetch the relevant answer for the user. So this is the semantic search. So many places we are using this one. So based on the question, what kind of question user is asking? What the question is related to what? So this is a semantic search will be useful in case of user question and answer generation part. The fourth one, AI and LLMs. So this is one of the most important one nowadays. Everywhere we're using chatbots or virtual assistants. So when chatbots or virtual assistants need to understand what kind of question user is answering, and accordingly we need to display the options for the next question to ask. So that's the way we need to understand the first user, and corresponding options we need to provide the user, so that way he can able to select the right option to proceed further. So that's the way this AI and LLM models are using this vector database behind it. Okay, so these are the some of the use cases, but there is a lot more, but we can see just a few more here. Now the final part we are going to see, you can see over a piece of code here how to generate embedding vector using a model called here, but we are trying to use over here BERT Google model, and this is mainly useful for the to text to embedding vector conversion. So BERT, one of the existing model or pre-trained model, we are trying to use it over here. After that, we are trying to convert the text into tokens, and this is the text we are trying to use it over here. We are trying to use one of the tokenization, and this is our input. So our tokenization is ready and model is ready and our inputs is ready. So then finally we can convert the entire text into inputs. Okay, so then we can define all necessary inputs and we can able to generate the embeddings. So once the embeddings are generated, so then we can able to store the embeddings into vector, and these are the sample embedding vectors what I have generated it. And now let me show you the a demo part, so how we are going to generate embeddings in real way. Okay, so to generate embeddings, so what I'm trying to use here Jupyter notebook. So for this purpose we have a piece of code which you can able to find in the description, and let me take the code. So when we are running this code first time, it will take a while because it need to be downloaded necessary supporting BERT model so into your machine. But right now I already ran before this video, so it won't take much time. Model will not be downloaded, but the conversion will take time because it need to generate a very big or lengthy multi-dimensional vector with a lot more values with a lot of precision. So that's the reason it will take time. So let me run it first. So we can see over here, so a, a vector is generated in numbers, a lot more numbers. So this is the embedded vector which is generated. So basically what we are trying to do over here, so the simple text what we can see over here, so that we are trying to converting into embedded vector so that we can able to store into our database. So how we are going to generate this embedded vectors, we are trying to use over here a pre-trained model called BERT of Google one. So this specially designed for text related one. So that's the way we are trying to use a pre-trained model, and this is our user input text and we are converting into embedding vector, and now we can able to store it, right? So as per the next video I will show you how to store this embedded vector into one of the vector database so that we can see it. But right now in the nutshell what we have understand what's a vector database and how to generate embedded vector, and what are the some of the use cases of this vector database in different sectors, how we are trying to use it. Okay, I think that's all about this video. If you like the channel, subscribe it.